Greetings, everyone. My name is Winifred Whalen, and I am part of the North America Sales Training Team. I will be assisting with today's event. And just a quick reminder to our audience, this event is being recorded, and the recording will be available post-delivery, and you'll have the opportunity to go back and review content as needed. A quick reminder, if you have any questions, go ahead and post your questions into the chat pane, and our guest experts will be happy to answer those questions if we have an adequate amount of time at the end of the meeting. And if not, we will make sure that we follow up with you post-delivery as well. But it is my honor to be able to go ahead and introduce our guest speakers. We have a wonderful expert, Mr. Robert Rogers, who is our strategic account leader with Philips. Rob has cardiac and vascular sonography experience that makes him an expert, along with RDCS and RVT, and has been part of our Philips family and sharing his expertise for over 19 years. So Rob, we're excited to be able to feature you today and have you join us and share your expert knowledge. In addition, we also have Hila Goldman-Aslan. Hila is our Ultrasound AI strategy leader for Philips and also our founder for DIA Imaging Analysis. Hila is the founder and CEO of DIA Imaging Analysis, which was a startup that was specialized in advanced AI-based software solutions in the cardiac ultrasound field. Hila successfully led DIA through all of the stages of the company's development, from initial idea through product development, team building, multiple regulatory approvals, fundraising, sales, commercial partnerships, you name it, she's done it. And she also designed and developed leading company partnerships, especially with Philips in 2020. This partnership led to the acquisition of DIA by Philips last year. And today, Hila is part of the Philips family as the Philips Global Cardiology Ultrasound category. And she also holds a master's degree in commercial law from Tel Aviv University, as well as a dual bachelor's degree in law and business administration from Reichman University. So Hila, we are honored to be able to have you spend some time with us today. Walk us through some of your expert knowledge here. And Rob, thank you again for sharing this time. So a quick reminder to our audience, this is being recorded. Put your questions in the chat pane. And Hila, we are very excited to be able to kick this off. I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Great having and being here. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, let's start digging into AI. So this picture, by the way, this clip was created by an AI tool that probably some of you already experienced with some AI tools in the market, like ChatGPT, DALL-E, and Midjourney, and others. And it's wonderful to see how AI evolved in the last, I would say, 5 to 7 years. And suddenly it's in the hands of everybody. And yeah, probably some of you already experience with it. Some of you are not sure how to use it, and some are not even knowing that they are using it on their everyday work or life, but you are. And so yeah, this picture was created with AI by somebody that is not the expert, just putting a script of what kind of a picture he wanted to create. And that's what we called, in this industry as generative AI. And in a minute, we will talk about the differences about AI, generative AI, classic AI, and what it's all about and how it is connected to cardiac ultrasound area. Yep. So, a lot of us are hearing, all of us actually hearing every day, every week, every month, the word AI, artificial intelligence, all over. When you open your feed, when you open Instagram, when you open the news, it's all about AI. So if you go to YouTube, if you go to Google and Google it, you will get a lot of definition about what is AI, what is contained. And sometimes people coming to me and say, how do you simplify the term AI and what does it mean? So if I need to tell it in few words, in few sentences. So when you hear machine learning and deep learning, it's all part of the AI family. And probably if I need to simplify it even more is, when you hear the word network, it's kind of a system, kind of a supercomputer or computers that can do a lot of calculation, a lot of formulas, mathematic formulas, that when being introduced to certain data, like images, ultrasound images, for example, then and annotated ones, then they are starting to find the connections between those data sets, those images, and eventually doing what we are asking the network, the system, the supercomputer to do. And there are all kinds of network, all kinds of supercomputers that are dedicated to do different things. Some of them is to differentiate, between dogs and cats. Some of them actually, when looking at a certain image, like the four-chamber view of the heart, not only looking what is right ventricle and what is left ventricle, but actually looking inside and find all kinds of abnormalities or functional movement. And again, different network doing different things. And part of the expertise to know what to use first and what to use for a specific reason we want to use it for. But yeah, we will talk about it more today going forward.
Yeah, so great introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here. Now that we understand some of the terminology, what are echo labs experiencing today, and can AI help to mitigate these obstacles? Today's labs are faced with labor shortages, an expectation to get through the day's exams with less staff. The exams are more comprehensive with many sites, including strain and 3D echo in their protocols. And operationally, the systems are getting bigger and more complex with an expectation of the same level of care across the network. This translates to three main areas of focus for automation and AI for continued investment, from Philips, and we'd like to discuss that further. Philips is continuing to invest in AI in a variety of ways, throughout the patient care cycle. We're investing in making a difference while the patient is still on the table. We are continuing to expand where we've really already started the role of AI for reproducible quantification, for automated, robust, and reproducible results. And we're also investing in AI that aids in automatic finding and clinical decision support. Considering the challenges we face as an echo community, AI should help to mitigate many of these challenges faced today.
Yeah. So I'm sure that a lot of you was wondering, how can I trust the AI that being offered to me or that I'm using? How do I know that, it's being developed in a responsible way? And how can I use it in a responsible way? And part of the development process that we have been done for many years as part of DIA and now as part of Philips is mainly looking into three different areas to make sure we are developing a responsible AI tools in a way that it can be accurate and robust, consistent, and of course, gain the trust of the users. And part of that is looking and following the FDA guidelines. So FDA has a specific process when submitting for clearances, AI-based software solution, and it's require the company that submit that solution, this development software, to be handled in a certain way. So part of it is what is the data and how was the data collected? What is the amount of data that was collected? How it was collected? From which site it was collected? How many physicians and experts were involved in reviewing the data, annotating the data? How this process was conducted? How is the separation between testing and training the data with the network versus doing the validation part of it? Was there a good separation between those data sets? Was the data collected from different devices, as well as the population of the data, the cases, the clinical cases that were collected? If you look at all these lists, and the list goes on, that mainly putting a very high bar to get a clarification from the FDA of any AI-based software solution. So when the FDA actually cleared a software, that means that the company went through all this process and requirements and go through making sure that the data is not biased and that is consistent and it's addressed all the FDA requirement. In addition, at Philips, as well as being not long ago a part of DIA, we are doing more than that. Not only that we are applied to the FDA requirements, we are also making sure to have more data sets, to test it one against each other, to have more expert tests while we are developing the AI solutions, while we are testing it, and not going through the process without doing some breaks and making sure that the users are using it and giving us feedbacks. Also, one of the FDA requirements is to have a locked version of the software. FDA do not allow a software to continue learning on the field once it's being released. So at the point that we are submitting for approval, for clearance, the software is locked. It's not learning more from the field. Once it's out there, it's locked at all. That's versus what we talked in the first slide about generative AI. When you go to ChatGPT or to DALL-E to create a picture, when you put a script of what you want, if you put, I want a dog with, sunglasses at the beach, if you write it first, you will get the first picture. The second picture, if you write the same thing, will be different. Not in this case. In this case, when it comes to a clinical solution, AI-based solution, you will always get the same result for the same image, for the same clip. The consistency is important. This is people's life. You're not changing the results. You want to have consistency. That's why we are using the AI technology that is relevant to the clinical environment.
All right, so what is our approach? And what is our focus for responsible AI? Our focus is to achieve intuitive, reproducible ultrasound, scan to scan, user to user. So from image acquisition to analysis, Philips Ultrasound AI solutions integrate into everyday clinical workflows and are really designed to augment user skills. This, of course, is fueled by high quality training data sets. AI innovations reduce cognitive burden while keeping the ultimate decision responsibility with the clinicians. Features such as automated image formation, acquisition, measurements, and reporting drive productivity. And this is, really all about eliminating the need for, manual view selection and visual analysis, helping to reduce variability between users and supports the expanded use of ultrasound. So for the sonographer and the cardiologist, AI is here to assist you. It's not here to replace you. Automation technology has been in use for many years, but older technologies took longer to develop and accuracy was limited. AI makes automation faster and enables us to do more with it. So chances are you're already an AI user. So above the line, we're looking at diagnostic echo. Below the line is more interventional focused. Philips has a history of leadership focused on anatomic intelligence, system training, advanced automation, and of course, AI. 3D applications, such as 3D Auto RV, AI-based measurement tools such as AutoMeasure, and on the interventional side, Echo Fluorofusion with Echo Navigator are examples of AI-based solutions. In 2023, we acquired a company called DIA, which we'll learn more about, later in this presentation as well. Our matrix transducers are the foundation, for the success of our AI investments, as it all begins with the image. Let's take a look at some of these innovations and discuss the impact of AI. All right, so on this slide, AI and automation models are not new for Philips Ultrasound, from heart model to the most recent automated Doppler and 2D measurements. We have used technology to bring efficiency and reproducibility, for our partners and ultimately the patients. Dynamic heart model and 3D auto RV use anatomic intelligence and AI respectively to bring 3D echo to the routine exam. That was, really our goal. We now have partners who use these applications routinely every day and get better results in less time, and have in some examples actually replaced traditional 2D measurements in their protocols and aligning with guideline recommendations with the use of 3D. Prior to dynamic heart model and 3D auto RV, 3D software tools required a significant amount of time and were quite laborious and with unfortunately a low feasibility, and usually required, an expert user, in the lab that you would have to designate. Dynamic heart model was developed to bring 3D echo to the routine exam, as I mentioned. And to achieve that, we knew that the solution had to be fast, easy to learn and use, as well as, more importantly, feasible across the hospital patient population. The model for dynamic heart model identifies the chambers of the heart, properly aligns the chambers to prevent foreshortening, and has been trained on a variety of heart shapes and sizes to deliver on expectations with high feasibility, and this is all done in seconds. So let's take a look at, an example of AI in action. This is one of the more challenging heart chambers to assess. In the first phase here, you can see that the software is detecting the chambers, and we have a pictogram to the left that we make sure is correct. So everything looks good here. Next, we'll go to the tracking revision. And at this point, we get to see, how the ROI or how the AI has placed the ROI over the chamber. And this is an area where we can validate the accuracy, make adjustments if needed. So in this case, we're moving up and down in the long axis, paying attention to the ROI in the short axis. We can sweep through the ventricle from side to side. More importantly, it actually, will provide the, widest dimension, of the right ventricle. We come to the results page where we have the ability to display the information in a variety of ways. So you can see that a mesh is being turned on. This can be, moved into a different orientation. So you can see the inflow and outflow. Here's our 3D results. And more importantly, one thing that's really led to the success of this app, and more importantly, its clinical application, has been the fact that it does all of the routine measurements that you might be doing today in 2D, and it's all done in seconds. So right here, we're showing or demonstrating the TAPSE and how you can adjust that measurement, but you can look off to the right and see the dimensions, et cetera. So really a good example of, AI being used to approach a complex chamber. All right, automation using modeling has also impacted, structural heart procedures, where we have, demonstrated the benefits of this technology with a solution called Echo Navigator. This is our Echo Fluoro Fusion. Philips's 10 years of innovation, with Echo Navigator, really taking the benefits of the soft tissue anatomy from Echo with the strength of, fluoroscopy with the X-ray image. And when you look at, the image on the far right here, what is the actual most important thing in the image, at least, for the AI? That's actually the TE transducer. So in real time, an AI algorithm tracks the transducer orientation in real time to provide a 1 to 2 millimeter co-registration accuracy between those two imaging modalities. And this is all provided in one common display, which we can see here. And this video is a great example, demonstrating the impact of AI for procedural guidance. The echo image on the left is positioned for a transeptal puncture. You can see that it started, the sheath started in the SVC and is being pulled back into the fossa. Even when you lose sight of that information in the echo, you can look over to the fluoro and see exactly where you're positioned and get that confirmation that where you're planning to cross is indeed where you see that crossing occur. So really an exciting technology, and more importantly, a demonstration of AI solving some of the challenges in time-sensitive procedures. So AI is, here to assist the sonographer, the cardiologist, or even the hospital system, and to use AI in a responsible manner to achieve intuitive, reproducible ultrasound, as I mentioned, scan to scan, user to user. As demonstrated with the X51 transducer, starting at the left here, quantification time was reduced by 51% with the use of AutoMeasure, which is the AI-based dimensions and Doppler tracing. Moving to the middle here, we can reduce the 2D diagnostic echo exam time by up to 20% by incorporating Philips automated solutions into your everyday echo. Moving to the far right here, dynamic heart model was 82% faster than traditional 2D techniques for LV and LA analysis, saving roughly 3 minutes per exam. What was probably even more important was, the degree of feasibility that it brought to the table as well. So, our goal, initially was to bring routine use of strain and 3D echo, to the routine exam. And this is really only achieved with advanced automation, the system training, and the AI. And, one thing you have to ask yourself is, what does the future hold?
So talking about the future, I think it's a good time to talk about Philips' investment in the future. So as was mentioned at the beginning, DIA was established by myself and a few more co-founders almost 10 years ago, which is a long time to work on AI-based solutions. And that was our focus. Our vision was always to empower ultrasound users with AI, to leverage AI to make the use and analysis of ultrasound images smarter and more accessible to more users. And when we initially partnered with Philips in 2020, it was to try and get to know each other and see the relationship, to see if we are fit as companies. And we found out we are sharing the same values, the same future, the same prospect for the future, and seeing AI as being a major part of Philips innovation, as well as the achievement that we obtained during the years. Going forward with what we did since we were established, we were able to obtain 9 FDA-approved solutions, AI-based solutions, which is not trivial for a small and startup, especially when AI just came in 5 to 7 years ago. Before that, it was all about image processing. We were able to identify really quickly that this technology will be the next technology that will rule, especially in cardiac ultrasound. And through the years, we're able to obtain additional approvals and clearances from the FDA. The way that we developed our AI-based solution was making sure that it's cross-platform and vendor neutral, therefore can be integrated easily into any ultrasound device, off-cart and on-cart, which means off-cart on the informatics side, the ultrasound workspace, on-cart on the Lumify, any portable devices, Epic, Affinity, you just name it. It can be easily and will be easily implemented. And soon you will be seeing some of it in the market on your Echo Lab and using it on your everyday echo exams. Now, talking about what we did in the last 10 years, it's creating this expertise and what we call a manufacturer of AI-based ultrasound and cardiac ultrasound solution. Basically, what we were able to create is a huge access to data, but also the know-how and the techniques, special techniques of how to annotate this data, how to treat it, how to identify it, how to define it before training the systems, before approaching it and letting the network work on that. On the other hand, also on the R&D aspect, we were able to, with time when AI got evolved, and again, at the beginning, it was very difficult to work with. Going forward, we saw the advantages and also found out that a combination between technologies can work best when we are talking about ultrasound images, which are very difficult images to apply AI to, versus MRI, CT, where the patient is laying down, taking a picture. With ultrasound, also the acquisition part is very subjective, as well as the analysis, also to find the ground truth, the golden ground truth was not easy, but then eventually we were able to cope with that and successfully find the mechanism that works. And going through 9 FDA processes, from time to time, we were able to understand what the FDA wants to see, how to develop an AI-based software in the most efficient way, as well as how to develop the software itself in a very optimized and minimized way, so it can work on all those ultrasound devices as well as off-cart in a similar way, and that the result will always give the same, the result of the software will give the same information, the same result, and every image will always get the same information to create this consistency and be able to look at trends. So if you look at all this cycle that we are calling as the mechanism or manufacturer of AI, and that's only we are going to scale now as part of the Philips family, and stay tuned for much more.
All right, so I think there can naturally be a lot of fear associated with the use of AI, not only for the technology itself, but also about how it impacts, what the impact is on individual roles. A lot of people think AI is actively learning. It is not, and that's something we learned from Hila today. Many sonographers are concerned about their jobs. AI will not replace you. You had automated solutions before AI that you've used. Now you will have more and better results and more measurements, like the segmental wall motion, which you'll see here shortly, more view selection like the SVS, which you'll see shortly, and more time to focus on getting good image quality, so the AI will produce good, consistent, reproducible results. AI also means less variability between operators, less subjectivity, less scanning time, which can help avoid injuries. It will not eliminate the subjectivity, as you always can edit and adjust, from the aspect of decision support tools. So hence the title of today's discussion, to be or not to be an AI user. It will be an AI user. We have been using AI as users, and it is our goal as a vendor to provide that confidence moving forward. All right, so AI investment and integration will be a part of our 2024 release. Hila commented that their team became a part of the Philips family in 2023, and here in such a short time, from an R&D perspective, we're actually integrating some of their technology into the 2024 release. So what we wanted to do was provide you with a small preview. These are areas that have already been FDA cleared. So I'll start with demonstrating an expansion of auto measure. So in this example, you can see the system on the left, a Doppler signal on the right. Just waiting for I think you might have to prompt the image to play. There we go. So we're just going to select measure, from the interface, and just looking at the touchscreen, View ID has already identified the Doppler signal itself and brought you to the correct location in the calcs package, where you can see that the auto measure Doppler was selected for an AV VTI trace. And I think one of the most important components is the user has the ability to edit. This has always been an important aspect of any of the AI integrations into our portfolio. So you can either change the thresholding or move calipers, or even choose a different waveform. So adapting AI to solve challenges in echocardiography, the key here is time savings, less keystrokes, reproducibility, and more importantly, that flexibility of allowing the imager to adjust for agreement.
So as Rob mentioned, some of the technology that was developed at DI is already integrated less than a year into the next release. And what you're seeing here is the smart view selection, which means that in the next release, what will happen is that the system, after acquiring the images with the patient, while the patient is already there, the system behind the scenes will select the 3 apical views, the best one that you scanned and do the measurements of ejection fraction, strain, and segmental wall motion. And if we're going to the next slide, segmental wall motion is a, can we go back? Yeah. Segmental wall motion is a big introduction to the market. As you can imagine, segmental wall motion today, as it's being done today on a routine basis, it's being done by visual estimation mainly. And now you will have automated a score for each of the 17 muscle segments, as well as the score index. And that is great news to the users, to you guys. We're very excited about this going forward. And again, picking the views automatically and getting segmental wall motion score, strain, EF, all just by scanning. You don't need to do anything. Finishing the exam, it's already there. And with the Lumify, ejection fraction, automated solution, very special in terms that you have the border traction of the left ventricle, be able to see the border in motion, as well as edited. Very unique to the market, very robust. One click when you get the 4-chamber view, and you get the ejection fraction on the Lumify.
So as many of you are aware, one of our big trade shows, the American Society of Echocardiography 2024, is in Portland this year, June 14th to the 16th. This is just around the corner. I think it's a great opportunity to come and see Philips, see AI in action at the Philips exhibit. Also, we can leave this on here for a few seconds. Please take the time to scan the QR code to learn more about Philips Ultrasound AI. We will have, hopefully a second webinar in the series later in the summer. So this is really a pilot for many webinars to come to point to the direction of what how we're investing in AI. Drop us a note. Provide some feedback as we consider another step in the ongoing program for how we at Philips are adapting AI for ultrasound. Both Hila and I, thank you for taking time in your busy schedules, and we look forward to continuing the AI conversation. I think we'll have to see if we have some time for some questions, so I'll turn it back over.
Actually, great job. And Hila and Robert, you're getting some great kudos, a lot of positive things in the chat pane. We had a plethora of questions that did come through, so I want to pose give a couple of them with the few minutes that we do have. So question number one. A lot of companies are really approaching AI. They have a lot of questions. Why Philips? Perhaps, Hila, if you could add some clarity to that question, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think that Philips, as we demonstrated and presented here today, is acting in a very responsible way on how to develop these AI-based solutions. And definitely when you are in a place to decide which AI software to use, and that is a very huge element to consider. Asking the questions about how was the software developed, how it was trained, and what is the process if there is FDA approval. All those questions that we already talked about before, I think that will help any user to decide what to buy. And definitely Philips is the leading company in this space.
Excellent. Thank you, Hila, for that insight. And then, Rob, there was another question that came through, especially as you were walking through some of those demos. When it comes to automated measurements, can individuals have that adjusted themselves? Is that a capability that's possible? Can you add some clarity?
Yeah, absolutely. So I almost needed to make a longer video there, but not only can you make edits, you can even select different views for the application. So, things like auto strain or the segmental wall motion scoring. If you felt the AI, didn't select the images that you wanted to analyze, you could go back and reselect those. So you have really, the goal is complete flexibility.
Love it. And then another question just came in the chat pane a little bit earlier in the presentation. What questions should we be asking before purchasing? I mean, what types of questions? I know, Hila, you talked a little bit about it during the presentation, but if you can reinforce some of those key concepts.
Yeah, it's mainly to ask, how it was trained. Is there an FDA approval? And who is using it? Who are the KOLs that tested it? Philips is working with great physicians and sonographers that have been experienced with the Philips AI solution, and that's definitely a good place to start. What kind of publication out there with this software? Those are the kind of questions that you should ask when considering buying an AI-based solution.
Hila, thank you for that clarity. And another question that kind of ties into that, that was a beautiful segue. Rob, can you add a little more clarity on if a lab wanted to incorporate AI application? Does Philips provide that type of training?
Yeah, so training is a big part of what makes us what we are at Philips. We invest heavily in the post-sale partnership. So training can be anything from virtual to on-site to even off-site training, even customize and tailoring training specific to the needs of the site. Because let's face it, we want you to use our equipment to the fullest. Because when you're doing that, you're really being a proponent of our product and our solutions, and really strengthens the partnership.
I love it. Thank you very much for both of you. I know we ran just a little bit over on the time there, but I wanted to make sure we got a few of those questions in. Great kudos coming in on the chat pane, and the excitement around the future is definitely there. Continue to utilize this QR code to submit those questions. We'll make sure that we do so moving forward. And that does bring us to our time and our presentation. I want to just go ahead and close this and also share that this is not the only event and expertise that we'll have touch points with Rob and Hila and our experts supporting this wonderful solution. We will continue to have continued events. Look for that information coming from Jennifer Anderson, your marketing team leader for Philips, and also from Eurocell's training team as well. So we look forward to continuing to support the involvement of this wonderful partnership and this wonderful benefit for our patients and for clinicians. So thank you, Hila. Thank you, Robert, for your time, your expertise today. And thank you, everyone, for spending your time with us today. And again, we appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone.